This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Silent Witness, the podcast that dives into true crime and cold case files. Hosted by Christina.
Hello, hello.
And Erica. That's me. Hello. All right, lady. What you got today?
Hey.
Hey.
So we are still in Texas, but we're going
Okay.
to 1982.
1982. Do you have a history lesson
I
for
do
us?
have a history
love these.
lesson.
Okay.
I do. I love them because
82.
this one's
Okay.
an interesting one too. So President Reagan was president.
Okay.
80s were in full swing, obviously. And something of note, the Tylenol murders began in Chicago this year.
The what?
The Tylenol murders. So
I don't know what that is.
this was a series of poisoning deaths that occurred when people took cyanide-laced pills and died. So that basically they would go to the store, buy Tylenol, have a
And they were
headache, take some Tylenol, and they died.
Oh my gosh.
So in total, 7 people died from taking this medication. There were some copycat crimes too, but this particular, the main one, was about 7. The person
Wow.
responsible has never been found.
Wow.
This led to the tamper-resistant bottles we have today.
Oh.
So that's why this is the reason why.
Because somebody was going in there and trading out.
Yeah, they would
Wow.
part and then put them back on the shelf.
Mhm.
So the tamper
And nobody
ones.
knew. They're like, do. I just bought
Yeah,
this. It's
so that's
brand new.
why we have tamper-resistant medications.
Okay.
And that's the norm, and because of this.
Alrighty.
Soap operas such as General Hospital and Dallas were all the rage.
Yeah, Dallas.
Loved soap operas.
Loved
E.T.
JR.
was in the movies.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Was like in theaters.
Yes, that was in theaters.
Okay.
We didn't have streaming back then, so
No.
we had 3 channels, I think.
Right. Okay.
Topping the charts were Rick Springfield and Olivia Newton-John. Love Rick Springfield.
Oh, Olivia Newton-John.
Rick Springfield.
wait,
I
they
had so
both
many
have-
posters of him.
Did you really?
Oh my gosh.
Do you think he was dreamy?
He was. He's still good looking.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I just want to point out that this will be in 2 parts because I feel this case can and should be solved. So as
Okay.
much as we can talk about it, I want to do. But let's get into it.
All right.
So let's meet Ruth Elizabeth Bettis.
Ruth. Okay.
Ruth
let's go.
Elizabeth
Ruth,
Bettis. She was born
1982.
September 26th, 1963 in
Okay.
Austin. She was born to Dale and Rebecca.
Okay.
Dale was an aerospace engineer, and Rebecca was a freelance writer.
Oh, cool.
Ruth had one sister, Catherine, but she went by Liz. So for purposes of this, we'll call her Elizabeth.
Wait, what? Ruth went by Liz? Or Catherine went by Liz?
No, Ruth, because Ruth Elizabeth Bettis.
She went by Liz.
And she went by Liz, younger, but she changed her name again. I'll explain later.
Okay.
But I'm going to call her Elizabeth because that's what I think everybody called her for some reason.
Okay.
All my research, it was Elizabeth.
She did not like her first name.
I guess not. I don't know.
Alrighty.
Her parents were very, very accomplished.
Okay.
Dale eventually obtained his PhD in astronomy from Yale.
Ooh.
As a child, the family moved a lot due to mostly his career, but their careers.
Sure.
The family relocated to Maryland, Connecticut, California, and eventually moved to Zurich, Switzerland for about a year.
Okay.
The
That'd be
girls,
fun.
Elizabeth and Catherine was 3 years older,
Mm-hmm.
attended prestigious schools in England, Switzerland, and New England. But finished their education, meaning high school, in Connecticut
Ooh.
at
Weighty.
a very, very prestigious
Yeah. All you have
private
to say is
school.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
That's like where tons of money is.
Pomfret. I'm probably saying that wrong. But anyway, Dale was a professor at UT Austin, where he eventually settled. Dale, along with his accomplishments in the field of research and astronomy, he also had a ranch, which also on the ranch had Cypress Valley Winery, and it was
Ooh.
one of the first wineries that specialized in Texas wines.
That's very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think people know. There's a lot of
There's
a lot of wineries throughout the state.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Almost every town has one, really.
We've got one in Valley Mills.
Oh, yeah. I think I see their
Stuff.
yeah.
It's real pretty. Anyway, I digress.
Anyway, as the girls grew up, their parents eventually separated.
Oh.
And Rebecca, mom, struggled to support the family, which made it hard to put the girls through the prestigious schools.
Yeah.
But, she did. It was a struggle, but she did.
Okay.
Being around, and I'm quoting, rich kids was probably difficult for Elizabeth, because they had to struggle.
Well, and like divorce back then, way, way different.
Of course.
Super stigmatized.
Very. And, Dad moved back to the Austin area, so he wasn't as much in their lives. He was, but, we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, it was hard on Elizabeth, as most children, when they see their parents divorced.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sucks.
But by the time Elizabeth was in the 11th grade, she decided she wanted to go by a new name, Gibson.
What?
The name originated because...
as her first name or surname?
No, just Gibson.
Just call me Gibson?
Like Madonna. I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
Gibson. So I would assume that would just be her first name, Gibson.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But it did originate, this was her mother's father's name.
Oh.
She refused at this point to respond to any other name. This could have been rebellion,
Teenagers.
Yeah.
Call me Gibson.
Or she just wanted to use this name. Who knows?
Okay.
I don't know. But again, we're going to call her Elizabeth for the purposes of this story.
Oh, okay.
To not confuse people.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So Elizabeth loved the arts, dance, piano, drama, and this was a lot like her mom. Her mom was artsy,
Creative.
Dad was science. She, Elizabeth was too. Elizabeth was determined, ambitious, and wanted to pave her own path. Her older sister, was very accomplished as well and brilliant, but, being a second, third child, and then you have such an accomplished older sibling, you don't want to be in their shadow. You want to pave your own path.
Sure.
And so Elizabeth wanted to do that. She was very confident, very protective. She was close with her sister, protective of her sister, protective of anybody she cared about.
Sweet.
Because of her determined spirit, she obtained a lot of scholarships for university.
Oh.
And began attending the University of South Carolina at age 16.
Wow.
She graduated early.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, very smart. And she decided at that point, I'm going to go the math science route, kind of like my dad.
Mm.
And during the summer months, during this time as she's an older teen, she would travel to Austin to spend time with her dad.
Okay.
Again, he went to Austin and he was teaching at UT, which we all know is a very, very high-end school, especially the law school. You can't get into it. It's much like
you mean like hard to get into?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, UT is, I couldn't get into it, but I'm a dummy, so.
Stop it!
Okay. But, yeah, so Dale was back living in Austin.
And she would come out and visit in the summer. Okay.
During the summers.
Cool. Good job.
Yeah, and again, she was 16. She was young, going to college.
I can't even wrap my brain around that.
Yeah.
It's like, good for her, but wow.
Of course. It's a lot
and
of
then being
work.
surrounded by all those older kids. Not even just the college aspect, but like the maturity level. And,
right.
Anyway, good for you.
For sure.
Gibson, Elizabeth.
While attending USC, Elizabeth realized her passion was the arts, not math and science. We could have seen that coming. She was good at that, loved it. That's a big old difference between science and math and, the art programs.
Yeah, no, I get it though. I was a double major, theater and pre-med.
Oh, wow.
So like it's those two sides of your brain, like which one's going to win?
Huh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. But anyway.
I get it.
So she decided at this point she was going to transfer to the University of Georgetown.
Oh, okay.
Which is north of Austin, for those that don't know. At this school, they had a great fine arts program, and Elizabeth would be living on campus at this time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Getting the full college experience.
That's fun.
And her dad is there as well in Austin. So
Yeah, that's nice. But then her mom and sister are still in Connecticut?
I don't know where sister is at this point, to be
But mom.
honest, but mom is.
Okay.
Yeah. Mom is back in Connecticut. So while living in the dorms, she became great friends with a girl named Diane.
Okay.
And they soon, after a while, moved off campus and rented a house along with Diane's boyfriend in North Austin.
Cool.
And I would imagine even back then it was expensive, especially for college students. Yeah. You're gonna, it's tough, especially when you don't have a lot of money to pay.
Well, that's why you get all the roommates, right?
Yeah. But Elizabeth was grateful, and she promised Diane she would help pay the rent and pull her weight with the bills.
Mhm.
So let's talk about Elizabeth's new job.
Cool. Okay.
She began working at an upscale gentleman's club in North Austin the very second week it opened.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, it was a brand new club. So this club was called Sugars. The club boasted a classy alternative to other gentleman clubs in the Austin area.
Mm-hmm.
They targeted the higher class clientele.
They were targeting the money. Okay.
Yeah, they wanted the rich, people to come there. Sugars offered a club where you can bring your clients, have business meetings over lunch while being treated to beautiful women.
Oh my gosh. This is so whatever. Gross.
Well, that...
I know. We're still in the 80s. No.
We're in the 80s.
Are we still in the 80s?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
okay,
the
that
90s
tracks.
was even worse for gentlemen clubs.
Ugh.
I mean, we don't see them quite as much here.
Mm-mm.
We had one.
I don't think we see them quite as much now.
Yeah.
Like as once upon a time.
That's what I was saying. Like
right?
in the
Texas
90s.
was littered.
80s and 90s, even up until 2000, it was just covered everywhere, especially in Texas, especially Dallas.
Yes. I think of Dallas, like
Dallas
by the airport.
Dallas, Greenville Avenue.
Oh, gosh.
Tons of them.
Ugh. Not my fave, clearly. I mean, you do you, boo.
Okay. So, upscale club.
Okay.
Beautiful women. And Elizabeth is beautiful.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous, tall, brown hair. Just a beautiful girl.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Elizabeth worked during the day when the club opened at 11. She made really good money, as most dancers do.
She was a dancer?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not stupid. Just for people listening, like,
Topless dancer.
she could have
Well, you
bartended.
could have been
She could have been
there's
waiting tables.
waiting tables, bartending,
hose.
and they don't.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
fully dressed. Yeah.
Okay. So she was a dancer.
She was
okay.
an actual dancer. Yes. Her stage name, because they always have stage
Was it Gibson?
names. It was Gibson.
Hey.
Good guess.
You can't put them past me, Christina.
Anyway.
I mean, good for her if she's making money, but
Yeah.
just ugh.
Yeah, there's such a stigma with it, but not every person that works at those clubs are the stereotypical.
I'm not worried. I'm not even worried about the ladies that work there. It's the clientele.
Well, they're creepers, but whatever.
Yeah. Ugh. You just pick. It's just
But it could be bachelor parties, and I don't know.
I don't know that mob mentality is any better. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we obviously disagree on this one.
No, we don't
I
disagree.
I
No,
hate
no.
gentlemen's clubs.
Huh?
I don't like them.
Well, no. I don't have any. I mean, it doesn't bother me because it doesn't affect my life.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and I'm kind of like, do what you do, but I don't know, especially like seedy ones. I think it's just like,
yeah, and there are some seedy ones that,
and those owners just take such advantage of the ladies, and it's just
yeah,
unionize women, unionize. Just kidding. Anyway, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
They're still around. I don't know to what extent, but it is what it is.
It is.
So back to Elizabeth. She worked during the day. She was a day girl, not a night girl. Made
when
good
was she
money.
going to class?
I don't know. Well, here's the deal.
Huh?
I had in my research, there was differing stories.
Okay.
Some of the stories said she was still in college, and some said she dropped out temporarily.
Okay.
Took some time off of college.
I mean, that happens. Yeah.
So,
or even like, what if she had class like Monday, Wednesday, and she danced Tuesday, Thursday, Friday?
Right.
I mean, there's other college is not all day every day.
Yeah, and maybe she went to class earlier.
And took nighttime. Okay.
I
So
don't
she's
know.
dancing during the day. She's a day girl.
Yeah, and she was liked by everybody at the club. And really because she wasn't the
Got that?
stereotypical topless dancer.
Okay.
She, wasn't going to, they all knew she wasn't going to be there for the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a means to an end to pay her bills.
Okay.
And a lot of people, again, have this connotation that a dancer is drug addict, damaged, and that's not, there are some, there's always going to be those, but then there's the college students, there's the moms supporting kids that, they just don't have any other alternative.
Sure.
But
that's fast money.
Yeah. And it's a lot of money, but while the truth is many of these young ladies are only, again, trying to support their children. But some reports state that she took time off of college and wasn't attending college, while others said that she was in college. She was a college student.
Okay.
So I don't know that part. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Okay.
Know.
So either she took time off or she was doing it in between class, but okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
But still in that time period.
Right. She still worked during the day, so I don't know. Also of note, Elizabeth did begin experimenting with some drugs.
Oh, well, now how are you going to be like, she's not stereotypical, but then
she was, but
drugs came
she
in.
isn't. But just because she experiments and tries drugs, a lot of people try drugs, and that doesn't make them.
Is this going to go
trashy.
into addiction, or does she just try? Okay. So
I think
she really
it's going to be
gives them
more.
a try.
It's going to be more into her being naive about that world. I think.
Okay. And she's still real young.
Very. Listen, I'm not an angel. I've done bad things in my life and I didn't realize they were bad. We've all made mistakes and
Oh, for sure.
We've all committed crimes.
Yeah.
Speeding is a crime.
I was like, I do drive fast.
No. I'm not talking about those kind of crimes. I'm talking about speeding and I don't do drugs. Listen.
No. You wouldn't have had your career.
No. That's for sure. But she did begin experimenting. Powder cocaine was a thing in the 80s.
Oh, huge.
If anybody watched
everything was excess.
The movie Wolf of Wall Street, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Cocaine was the thing in the 80s. But during my research, I did read one little story that kind of goes to her being a little maybe naive in that world. So that her and her roommate Diane were asked, hey, by some random, you want to, if they want to do some cocaine. They agreed, and Diane wanted her boyfriend there.
Oh, sure.
Just kind of, hey,
come be here while we're doing
this.
this.
We don't know, we don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
But according to Diane, Elizabeth suggested that they shouldn't have told the guy with cocaine that it was her boyfriend, but rather a friend. And Diane also stated that Elizabeth might have went somewhere alone with him to use the drug. And so that kind of you don't know this guy, you don't know his intentions, so you shouldn't. And she, Diane clearly knew, hey, calm down, don't leave
don't
strangers,
go
right?
Be around all alone with this rando.
And it kind of shows that, and at that age, you just have the mindset that nothing bad's going to happen to you.
And everybody has the best of intentions. And
it's not going to happen to me.
Share.
And I'm invincible.
And that.
Yeah. So let's talk about Thanksgiving around that time period in 82.
Okay.
So Elizabeth worked on November 24th, which would have been a Wednesday, 1982. She worked the 11 to 7 p.m. shift.
Okay.
She hung out for a little while after her shift, just chit-chatting, whatever. She decided to leave about 7:45. Now, these clubs, just for those that don't know, they always have, security there, bouncers, security guards that protect the ladies and, watch out for the club and, make sure bad things don't happen.
Okay.
So, just throwing that out there.
Alrighty.
But then again, back in those days, we didn't have cameras either. So we had
No.
eyeballs. That's it. So around 7:45, she decided to leave. She drove a Volkswagen Beetle.
Okay.
Love those cars.
Cute.
I think it was a light blue one.
Okay.
She got into her car and was preparing to leave. And the bouncer saw a black male, about 6 foot, slender, leaning over in the driver's side talking to her.
Okay.
Okay. Through the window. Or I guess the window was down. Excuse me.
Okay.
and speaking with her. And according to the witnesses, the conversation may have become heated, may not have. It's hard to tell when you can't hear, maybe.
Okay.
Because some people may be more animated. I don't know.
And it's not necessarily aggression or anger. It's
Right.
just
Maybe just animation.
lively, excited. Sure.
Yeah. And the man walked to the passenger side and got in the car, and Elizabeth drove off.
Oh, okay. So she knew. Oh, well.
We don't know.
Could have known him.
So not long after that, a witness reported that they saw her car, which was light blue in color, pull into a field about 7 miles away from Sugars.
Okay.
So you got to picture Austin isn't as grown as it is
Now,
so
yeah.
especially the Georgetown, that area. You know how
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so you're going to have a little bit more rural areas, and at this time this was a rural area. I think now it's a neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the
Georgetown
particular
is like
field,
all subdivisions now, I feel like.
the particular field that we're talking about, I think is now like a subdivision.
Okay.
A neighborhood. But at the time, it was a rural area.
Yeah, because it used to be like outskirts of Austin, and now it is Austin.
Georgetown
basically.
was very much smaller. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I should have looked that up. I should have looked at pictures.
like population and stuff. That's all right.
So the next day was Thanksgiving.
Okay.
2 teens were driving around this area, mostly pasture, tall grass, very rural. And the road was called Sprinkle Cut Off Road.
Mm-hmm.
And they were cruising along there and discovered a body.
Mm.
So this was Thanksgiving Day.
Yuck.
Rebecca, her mom, was getting married about the same time the body was being discovered.
Wait, what? How are you having a wedding when your daughter's not there?
I don't know. Maybe the daughter couldn't go. Maybe she wanted to spend Thanksgiving with her dad. Maybe she was going to go the next day. I don't know.
Oh, that's all. That sucks.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Elizabeth her body was found. Again, as her mom was saying her vows, right? The police were discovering the body there about that time. It was about 2:00, I think.
Yikes. Okay.
Elizabeth was nude from the waist down, had been strangled, sexually assaulted, and shot in the head above her right eye with a .22.
Jeez.
She was only 19.
Oh.
Her toxicology did find cocaine in her system,
Mm-hmm.
which, proves that she probably used either the night before or at least 3 days, within the 3 days of her death.
It would be in her system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the time of death was around 10 p.m. They predicted.
Oh.
And so, looking back, could it have been that person that asked, could he have just asked for a ride?
Right.
And if you think of her, she would have went with some random with cocaine, maybe she would have given somebody a ride. And you got to think too, back then, hitchhikers.
Yeah. Wasn't a big deal.
People picked up hitchhikers all the time, and they were serial killers most of the time. That's what
It was before they put those signs up outside of prisons.
Yeah, don't pick up
hitchhikers in this area.
That's true.
Ah!
That's funny. But, could that 6-foot black male and they have a composite picture of him, which we will post. But,
Did they? Okay, so then they never found him to talk to him or ask any
Right.
questions? Okay.
Maybe.
What do you mean maybe?
Maybe. We'll get into that.
Christina. Okay.
But could have that person have known Elizabeth?
Mhm.
Maybe he offered her drugs and they were going to go do drugs together like the previous story.
Maybe.
She was naive. She was young.
Mm-hmm.
So, we don't know. We don't know at this point. So, but we will
19.
explore all the theories. We will talk about the police investigation next week.
What?
Yes.
How are you going to get us all the way in the nitty gritty of this and be like, okay, cool,
Because
bye.
I'm good at the suspense.
That's my least favorite.
I know, but they got to come listen. Y'all got to come listen.
And also listen, kind of thinking of, we'll round it out with Crime Stoppers, I'm sure.
Well, we're going to right now.
Well, there we go.
Just because I want to at least put it in there in this
That's
episode.
what I'm saying. Have it in your head.
She would have been 42 this year.
Aw.
Oh, wait.
No.
No, she would have been 61.
No, she's older than me.
She would have been 61.
Yeah.
It's been 42 years since this has
There
happened.
we go. Okay, yeah.
Sorry. I'm not
You said
good
she was
at
born in
math.
63, right? Math. Ugh.
Yeah, so she would have been 61 this year. She would have been a grandmother, a parent.
Yeah. Aw.
Yeah. So if you know anything about this case, please report it to the Travis County Sheriff's Office at 512-854-1444 or anonymously. You can anything.
Is this on the Ranger site?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But,
One of their
anonymously
cold case.
at Crime Stoppers 512-472-8477.
Boom.
I just want to point out that a lot of sources were used for this story.
Good job.
Travis County Sheriff's Office, Austin Chronicle, WFAA, just to name a few.
What's that?
That's a TV station out of Dallas.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the TV stations had, I read old articles about it.
Some old, okay.
Mhm.
And then was the sheriff's office, were they helpful?
Well, no, I just read on their website. I didn't talk to them.
Well, sometimes you'll call, like I know you've called directly to like Waco PD and
Well,
stuff.
they'll give me a statement because I do work with them at my other job. So,
Right. Okay.
And they're very helpful. But no, I usually do put in an open records request, but I didn't on this one. It never
There's
has
some
led
stuff out there.
It never has led to anything.
No, I
I've done
know.
it.
I'm still annoyed with the ones that one where I was really annoyed with the law enforcement agency. Gosh dang it.
Yeah. But
I don't remember.
anyway.
Anyways.
Please go follow us on all our social medias.
Yeah, and come back next week apparently for part 2.
Yes. Part 2 will be next week. And I guess that's it.
All right. If you do have any tips, please reach out to Crime Stoppers, Travis County. You said Travis County? Yeah.
Travis County Sheriff's
that's where it
Office.
is. Travis County Sheriff's Office, and share any tips, anything you can think of, any memory that might be sparked by this story. If you know people who were in Austin at that time, so we're looking at like early to mid 80s, went to UT, went to Georgetown, like any of that.
Was at the
Pick
club.
their brains.
Was
Share
at the
this
club
episode
that
with
night.
them. Work at Sugars.
Yeah, it's no longer there, but
Worked at.
Grandma,
Know of it.
Grandma would have worked there.
Grandma could have been a dancer.
Well, yeah, because right now they'd be, if you're young in the 80s, you'd be in your 60s now. So
Yeah. Well, there's that. And no judgment on Grandma if that's how she made those ends
Grandma
meet.
was just paying the bills.
Grandma's just paying the bills.
That's right.
But share. See if this triggers any thoughts for people, and reach out to Crime Stoppers or Travis County Sheriff's Office. And that is part 1
Part 1.
of Elizabeth's story.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Catch us next time.
Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.